8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening, my little darklings, and welcome to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, this evening, and as promised, I am stepping out of the shadows to talk to you and address some of the questions and concerns that I've been seeing on social media and getting in email form and private messages and direct messages. So I wanted to, first of all, begin by acknowledging and recognizing everybody that went to the Palmer House event this past weekend with Shane Pittman, myself, Bill Chappell, Jamie Hauk. We just had a great time. It was so good to see all of you. Thank you very much for coming out and spending some time with us. A lot of them, a lot of the people there were trying to break me down for this as well. That's what made me decide to come out and talk about this tonight. It's also, I think, 3 or 4 years ago on this very night that we made some big announcements regarding Darkness Radio and changes. So I thought it was apropos to come back and talk about this some more. As you know, in our lengthy now 16-year journey into the strange and anomalous, we've been very open about dealing with anxiety and depression. This last 2 years has taken its toll on a lot of people, myself included. And I've been sitting back, kind of collecting myself. Many of you feel slighted or ghosted that I haven't come forward. I haven't said a word. I just kind of vanished from Darkness Radio. Tim's not talking about it. I didn't talk about it. So I understand and appreciate your concern. And thank you so much for giving a shit enough to be concerned. And for that, I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart to know that after all of these years of doing this program, you people care. You actually care. I will open up for questions. I'm going to try to stay away from the what's your favorite haunt and what got you started and all of that. If you have questions about my journey dealing with Darkness Radio, the TV programs, things like that, I'll be happy to answer questions tonight as long as they're asked respectfully. This isn't a dish night. This isn't me coming on to shred and dish, although I did promise truth, which is exactly what I'm going to deliver to you all. I am not here to pull anybody else down or step on anyone to continue my journey. So I wanted to just throw that out. So if you are here only in hopes that I'm going to shred people and out people in the paranormal field, that's not what this is about. So carry on, my wayward sons and daughters. If that is who you are, you may leave now and go back to your regular scheduled life. The last 2 years has been tough on everybody across the nation and around the world. I understand that. And there have been a lot of changes in my life and career. And I know a lot of times from the outside, it looks like, wow, this is so amazing. You've got everything you want. It's a strange dichotomy when you suffer from depression and anxiety. You could be sitting on top of the world and you always feel like you're on shifting sands that are ready to collapse at any time. And sometimes those walls do collapse. Truth be told, Tim and I have known each other for 34 years now. 34 years. 16 of which we have been together doing Darkness Radio. That's the longest relationship, aside from my children, I've ever had. So that in itself deserves some applause and accolades. But the journey hasn't always been easy. And resentments and pettiness and anger have reared its ugly head from time to time on both sides, which is normal. That's family, right? That's you get on each other's nerves from time to time. And pardon me, that's just part and parcel of doing what you do and being out there. So Tim and I have had many disagreements over the years. Some have played out on air, most have played out behind the scenes. And again, there's nothing telling about this, there's nothing scandalous. It's just two guys butting heads from time to time. And when you have two competent men that are both strong and strong-willed, it's going to happen. You're going to rub on each other and you're going to irritate each other. But it's been a slow, long erosion. I'll always love Tim. He's a brother. I can't say that we really are in the friend category anymore. And it probably hasn't been truly friends for a decade. And maybe this is news to him. But I haven't felt that way. We're just not connected like we were. And that's normal. People grow apart. We don't hang out in the same circles of life, really. We don't have the same band of friends. We have some similar acquaintances and, some people that we both know and are friendly with. And I would never try to come between that. But, sometimes you just get on each other. And, I want to say it was maybe about 6 weeks ago. I don't know. Everything just blends together at this point. 6 weeks ago, we butted heads and I left in a huff, and now it's a month and a huff later. And I have taken my time in coming forward with this because I have an acerbic tongue and I am human. And when I'm hurt and I'm angry and frustrated, I lash out just like all of you watching tonight. And Tim has the same issues. And we lobbed some grenades in each other's laps. And I just decided I've had enough. 16 years is a good run for Darkness Radio with Dave Schrader. And I stepped away. Unfortunately, Tim developed COVID. So I stuck in to cover so that there would be new shows and new programs up and available. And as soon as he started feeling good and told me as such and said, nope, I'm good. I'm fine. I stepped back and that was it. And that's why you haven't seen it. Now, I've done a few things. I did that Monkeys live podcast, but that's not a Darkness Radio production. Then I did a very Darkness New Year. That was literally last minute. Whitney and I stuck at home with sick kids and bored and wanting some kind of connection to the outside universe. So we jumped on and did that, but you really haven't heard much from me going forward. And that's where it's going to stay at this point. You're in capable hands with Tim. He has been the backseat pilot for 16 years, and this is his time to shine. This is his time to step up and take the reins. I know that he has felt stifled through the years and not heard, disrespected. And although none of that would have ever been my intention, to say that there weren't times we dug our heels in at the stupidest points would be a lie. Of course, we both did. We're human. We make those mistakes. But I decided before it gets to the point that these two grown men that have 34 years of history behind them end up hating each other, despising each other, it'd be better just to stop and walk away, which is what I did. It's for my mental health, probably for Tim's mental health as well. I haven't talked openly about it yet, and it's been, I don't know, what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? And not because I don't care about you, our listeners and followers for the last 16 years. You mean the world to me. To prove that, I want to give you some background about this show and what we've done and why there are high stressors involved. When we started this show, there was no pay. We were on one night a week, Sunday nights from 11 to midnight. Within a month or so, we were bumped to 2 hours. That station folded. After like a year, we were able to stay and use their live stream. So we were one of the first real podcasters in the paranormal field out there. There were only a handful that were doing what we did, aside from Coast to Coast AM, Night Watch, Ghostly Talk, Jim Harold's Paranormal Podcast. Those were really the only other contemporaries we had out there. And we enjoyed the competition and the friendly rivalry, and we got along with them. As a matter of fact, if you go back in our archives, you'll hear us having them on our show, talking about it, introducing ourselves to their audience, and them introducing, us introducing them to our audience. And it was a simpatico relationship across the board. But this has never been a money-making endeavor. Even when we connected with iHeartRadio, Tim and I did 8 years. I believe it was 8 years on iHeartRadio. And in those 8 years, I think we capped out at $10.65 an hour on radio. And we were doing what we love to do. So we both just took it. I worked a day job, Tim worked a day job, and then we'd get together to do the nighttime gig. And after we got footing on that and we could supplement it with other gigs and live appearances and things like that, we backed off from the regular day jobs. But it's never been about making big bank. We've stuck in it for you, the audience, because you've been there for us for all of these years. And we stuck with it because it was something that we both loved and felt passionate about. But I don't know that we've ever seen eye to eye on the program. And that bred contempt and resentment and anger and frustration from both sides. And that's not what this should be about. And listen, I'm the first to say I love reading biographies, and there's nothing worse than reading a biography about a dynamic duo you loved only to find out that they don't like each other. That's not the case. It's not that I dislike Tim, and I hope he doesn't dislike me. We just have grown apart and we don't really get along well. So why, with life being as short as it is, and this last 2 years has proven that to all of us, I mean, all of us have lost people to depression, to COVID, to disease, to suicide, and it's taken its toll. And I've just come to the point in my life where I feel like enough's enough. I don't want to just stick with something that doesn't fulfill me the way I hoped it would. And Tim has felt, as I said, stifled, and that he has been a silent minority on his show. So this is his chance to step up and do this and take over the show and take it in whatever direction he sees fit. Now, not being on, there are a lot of intelligent people out there that have figured out I've probably stepped away. For those of you that thought it was just because I was working on a TV project, that's not putting you down. That was a great guess, a great assumption. But just to be truthful, it's just, it's been a lot to try to flex and spread my wings. I started doing Midnight in the Desert, and it was a great opportunity. One that I think irritated Tim, feeling like I was splitting my attention. But I got to host Coast to Coast AM for 5 years as a fill-in host. I loved Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell and George Norrie. And to become a part of that family, even for 5 years, was amazing. And then to be a part of Midnight in the Desert, Art Bell's final show, and Coast to Coast AM, his first show, I couldn't stay away from it. It was amazing. What an amazing bridge and bookend to be able to say I was the only host that hosted both Coast to Coast and Midnight in the Desert. However, that came at a very tumultuous time. I started filming a TV show, and I was needed on set 5 days a week, 12 to 14 to sometimes 16 hours a day. And I would get done at 2 a.m. and get up at 8 or 9 a.m. to record Midnight in the Desert for 3 hours. And then I turned over 2 nights a week to Tim Weisberg to fill in on Midnight in the Desert. So I only had to do Midnight 3 days a week. And then I had to do Darkness Radio twice a week, plus True Crime Tuesday. So I was truly burning the candle from start to finish and in the middle. And it was wearing me out. And when I started the second season of Holzer Files, I knew I couldn't keep up that limit, so I stepped away from Midnight in the Desert. I got a chance to do it. I loved it. It was fun. It was a great bookend again to having been able to host Coast to Coast, then go to Midnight in the Desert. Sadly, after I left, that program failed and collapsed, I think, within just a few months. But I got to do it, and I don't regret a minute of it. I'm glad I got to do something like that and do it on my own. And I appreciated that opportunity. So coming back and doing Darkness Radio is the main focus, and there have been changes from 1 day a week to 2 days a week to 5 days a week, 1 hour a night to 5 days a week, 2 hours a night to 5 days a week, 3 hours a night to 5 days a week plus Beyond the Darkness over on Podcast One to Upheaval and Change, and then 5 days a week over on Podcast One, and then paring it down to 3 days a week. And it's been a shuffle and a game all along, but that's really been to try to keep myself engaged and interested and having fun with it. And that's where it stands. Tim, as you know, has dealt with many health issues over the last 15 years, 16 years, mental and physical, as have I. You've been there for me through heart attack, through pancreatitis and having my gallbladder removed, and depression and anxiety, and you've all been there for us through all of this, and we've all learned together and opened our eyes and minds to the magic of the world and universe around us. So that's been really amazing to me. It has not been financially fruitful. Tim and I have done our best to try to keep the show free or extremely affordable. Even when we moved over to Podcast One, our show was free. The only thing you paid for was True Crime Tuesday. And when we moved over to Stitcher, we did the same thing and made the show free. And if you wanted a commercial free, you could sign up for the premium, but there was really no money in that for us. And to be honest with you, as of I think it was June of 2021, they stopped paying us. So Tim and I have been doing it truly for the love of the game. And to have that kind of commitment to something that I'd lost some passion and zeal for, and realizing that in the long run, it would cost a lifelong friendship, I blew up and walked away and did not want to. It would have been very easy to get online and fuck this and fuck that and fuck him and fuck that and blow up. But that's not where I wanted it to be either. I didn't want to leave any indelible marks beyond what we had said to each other privately. It didn't need to be played out in the public at all. I'm not that guy. Tim's not that guy. So that's where we stand. I have opportunities. I filmed a brand new series this year. I can't give you any information at this point other than I filmed a new TV series with Cindy Kaza that should be out hopefully early 2022 to mid 2022. That's all I can say. And that was a lot of fun, but I don't know the future of that program either. It'll all depend on how many people tune in and what takes place. There's a lot of uncertainty in what we do. And without the financial support and security net that was afforded to us for the last, 15 years, 14 years of actually being paid to do the show, even if it was only $10.65 an hour, to now really kind of be doing it for free, there's that want and desire to hang in is not the same anymore. Like I said, I'll open up to questions. Winnie is monitoring, and she'll pop your questions up on the screen and comments, and I'll try to respond to them. I'm going to stay away from, the what's your favorite place and what started you in the paranormal. I mean, if you want to know the inside scoop on paranormal TV and paranormal radio and what it's like to launch podcasts and everything, I'll be happy to answer that and share this time with you. I scheduled to be here for an hour and spend this time with you and talk, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll ramble and fill you in on some of the insights of this field. And I don't want it to sound like I'm ungrateful, because I'm not. Tim opened a door for me. We met at college back in 1988. We worked at KQAL 89.5, your radio alternative in Winona, Minnesota, which is still going strong. And we became friends and brothers, and we stayed that way for all these years. And when he was working at a radio station and there was an opening in I think it was November, December of 2005 that was going to be opening up in January, on January 1st, I said, sure, let's do a show. And his question was, what kind of show? I said, let's do a paranormal show. And I created the name. Well, Bruce Springsteen created the name, Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I added, but Darkness on the Edge of Town. I created the opening sting that you heard, that whole narration. I wrote that in one sitting without any editing. Boom, just like it freeform poured out of me. We had Reed Hagen read it for us. Believe it or not, again, people still think that's me. Reed and I just have a similar timbre when we're doing that gravelly voice, but that is truly a professional in the field, Reed Hagen, who did that read for us. And I've always been thankful for that. I've booked the guests, I've interviewed the guests, I've written the blurbs about the guests, and, I've been entrenched in this field. I love doing what I've done and, having my buddy along with me on the journey. It just, things change, people change. And I'm not saying it's for the worst, either one of us, but you get to a point where you're just not in the same headspace. And I didn't want to stay any longer in this place. With that said, as a question is popping up from Drew Lailman, so as of now, will there be no form of podcast from yourself? I've got opportunities. People figured out that I'd walked away, and I've had some networks and some podcast opportunities make themselves available to me. I have a concept and an idea. I wanted to stray far enough away from what I've been doing for 16 years. And, I plan on maybe by the end of this week sitting down and talking to Tim and discussing a possibility of maybe I do a show Monday and Friday, a spinoff of Darkness Radio. He can present on Tuesday and Thursday with Darkness Radio, Prime. And then maybe Wednesday we come together and do Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. And there's another insight. True Crime Tuesday came out of a need and want for change because it was so hard to find guests 5 nights a week that were compelling in the paranormal. Now, we could find guests, not all of them were compelling. Even the ones we hoped would be compelling didn't always turn out to be that way. So we started to alter it from 5 nights a week of interviews to, especially when you're doing 2-3 hours a night, to, well, let's do Monday night is Parashare, and people can call in and email us and share their stories. And Fridays would be supernatural news, and we'll share news that we've collected all through the week. And we had correspondence, and then that left us just 3 days a week. And that even became a struggle after a while to book 3 solid paranormal good guests a week. And then I figured, well, people really respond to the true crime elements we were doing, some paranormal true crime. And so we started flexing into the true crime field and committed to that on Tuesdays. But I got to tell you, I've joked about it on air, but it really has weighed me down. I have a hard time enjoying a lot of things now. I have a hard time just letting my kids out of the house because I've just got all this shit and ick in my head from 10 years of true crime and the horrific things that people do. It doesn't mean it'll stop, but I don't know that I need to continue to beat my anxiety and depression with it either. I've joked for years that I'm not an outdoorsman, and I'm really not. I grew up playing outdoors and did all that, but I'm not a guy that likes to go camping or poking around in the dirty woods. It's not my thing. As I said, it's very sticky, pointy, and dirty, and things that want to bite you out there. But I go out and I'm afraid I'm going to round the corner and find a body. My kids are swimming in the lake and giggling and having fun like I did. And every mouthful they come up spitting at each other. I'm just wondering how much of it is dead bodies at the bottom of that lake. And that's a weird burden to hold. And that they're digging bodies and people out of lakes all the time. It's not far fetched. So I've now planted that seed with you. You're welcome. So maybe Wednesdays we come together and do Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, and because we're not in each other's face all the time, maybe we can just laugh together and enjoy that. And I haven't even talked to Tim about this. I've kept my distance from Tim. We're polite in measure on Facebook to one another, and I have continued to forward him guest ideas and everything. And I know that he had a true crime guest on that I had sent him a couple weeks back that turned south on both of us. We didn't see the guest taking the position she took, and I applaud Tim for staying with it. And I know it was hard for people to hear, but sometimes the hardest things to hear give us an insight into a different part of a world and thinking pattern. And thank God we're not that person who sees the victims as the bad guy and, makes excuses for the criminals. So, uh, Tim stood by it, and I applaud his efforts on that. I felt bad sending him that guest after the fact, but it was, he said, don't that, it's an interesting story, and it's interesting to hear why she believes the things she believes. And it certainly did more to discredit her than it did for us. Um, but I've been giving him guests and doing what I can to continue to help. So even though I blew up and we had a fight, 45, 60 days ago, whatever it was, I've continued to extend the olive branch, and will continue to do so. That's what I said. Maybe there's a life in it another way. Maybe Mondays and Fridays I have a show. Tuesdays and Thursdays Tim does Darkness Radio, and then Wednesday we meet in that middle. So if you're interested in that, you can always email me, dave@darknessradio.com, and let me know if that's something that you would have an interest in. If not, then maybe I just go find my own way somewhere else and start over. Christopher says, what are some avenues you would have liked to have explored with the podcast that you didn't get a chance to? Christopher, that's an excellent question. And because I am contemplating coming back and have to break the mold of where I've been and feeling stifled for quite a few years, I'm going to keep that to myself because I have some great ideas. At least I believe them to be great ideas. And if I relaunch, I hope to do so. If I do, I'm not saying I'm 100% in yet. I still have to process, and I've really enjoyed some downtime to be with my family and not have to worry about the show. If I come back, maybe I'd like to come back maybe by February. I didn't quit officially to you until now, so I can claim that 16-year reign with Tim with Darkness Radio, which is a huge accomplishment. And you guys have been a major part of that journey for us because, right now, do you know what a successful podcast is considered? Somebody that gets 1,000 to 1,500 downloads per episode. That's considered a very good, solid podcast. And I'm extremely proud that after 16 years, Tim and I are averaging close to 500,000 downloads a month. And many of you are begging for more. So that's why I said, maybe there's a way we can work together and find a new home for Darkness Radio or renegotiate where we're at and do something, but apart, if that makes sense. Under the same umbrella, the same concept of friendship behind it, but without being in each other's face. So that's my hopes. That's my druthers. So Christopher, I can't go into the specifics of it, but I hope that you enjoy what I bring. It will have a different feel and a different vibe to it than Darkness Radio will with Tim. And that's not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm going to do things differently, my way. And I'm not saying that, we couldn't have done this together, but I just feel that doing it my way and not imposing on Tim, impinging on him with the things that I want to do and change. He can continue to do the tried and true, which you guys love. You guys hate when we change shit up. So I'll probably be the one that falls to the wayside and you'll continue to support Tim, and that's fine. I wish him all the success in the world to continue on with Darkness Radio. As I said, you're all in great hands. He's a good guy, and he has a passion and love for this show. And if there are any other questions or comments, Winnie, you can feel free to pop them up. Chris Williams says, just got to say, you and Tim both helped me get through my dad's death, and I wanted to say thank you for it. Well, Chris, thank you. You guys helped me get through my mom's death. The outpouring of love that I got for years, man, when my youngest son was born premature by almost 2.5 months, and his mom almost died, and he almost died, and you guys poured out prayers and love and brought about miracles, and he is alive and thriving, as is she. That's because of you guys and the love and support that you showed. And the times that Tim's been, man, you don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Tim's been on death's door numerous times in the last 5-6 years. Numerous times. Stuff you guys have no clue how bad it's been. But you guys show your love and support and prayers and energy and healing. And I think that's what's helped keep him kicking and alive. So congratulations and thank you all. And we've lost, he lost his pop, his stepfather, he's lost his grandfather, he's lost family members and friends. I've lost my mom and family members and friends, and you've been there through it all. You've been there through me finding my eldest daughter. You've been there through me finding my bio dad and all of my siblings, and there's more to come with that. Not that I found more of them, but I'm finally getting to meet more of them this year because of the paranormal. I'll be out at the New Jersey Unity Paracon, and they live very close by in Pennsylvania. So two of my other siblings I've not met are coming to meet me at that. So you guys have been sharing this journey with me, which is phenomenal. So thank you for that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take just a quick break, have a couple sips of water, give a place for Tim to put in a commercial break, because I'm going to turn this audio over to him to share on Darkness Radio for the larger audience that isn't watching live tonight. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Darkness Radio. And welcome back to the program. This is Dave Schrader's final Darkness Radio episode as hosting duty. And this is a sideline for Tim. He didn't even know I was going to do this tonight. I just literally have been kicking it around, and I tried not to think. So I apologize up front, because when you're somebody who's laden with anxiety and depression, you think too much. And I worried that thinking too much would kill me tonight or raise my anxiety level to the point where I couldn't come on and do this. So I'm here now, and I'll answer your questions. I'll take your comments and thoughts. Summer says, as long as I can listen to your voice, it's like a warm hug. Thank you, Summer. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's been my voice all my life. There's nothing special about it, but boy, do I love hearing from how many of you I put to sleep. How many of you tell me, Dave, I go to bed with you every night? How many guys can hear that and have their wife not want to kill them? So thank you for that. And I appreciate it. That's a gift. Chris Frost says, I know it must be kind of tough to speak about this. Thanks for doing it. It is. It's extremely tough because, again, I know part of it sounds entitled, and you're just like, God, what a spoiled little bitch. Things don't always go your way, so you're just going to walk. But it's been 16 years of just doing what I could, and Tim doing what he could, and like I said, you just get to a point where the collision course is coming, and I'm watching two trains full force running on the same track towards one another. And as I saw less and less track in front of me, there was one chance left to veer. And I did it. I threw the throttle and I veered, because I didn't want those trains to collide and kill everything that we've ever created. Kill the show, kill each other. And again, this isn't because I hate Tim. This isn't because Tim hates me. It's, I think, hopefully out of respect, that we're just stepping away from one another, so that it doesn't get there. It doesn't mean I won't be happy to come on and visit with Tim once in a while, if those doors open and there's an interest. And again, I have to talk to Tim about a lot of this. I don't know what he wants to do or where he wants to go with this. And I don't know where I want to go with it. I don't know what I want to do. I love connecting with you guys, and I love hearing weird stories, and I love what we've done all these years. So I foresee myself staying staying around somehow. I just can't be 100% sure of how I'm going to do that. But if you're willing to hang in with me, we'll find out. I promise I won't leave you in the lurch or in the dark. By February 1st, I will do another live video that will tell you definitively, nope, I'm done, I'm retired, or yes, you can now hear me here or there. Maybe it'll be sooner. I don't know. Just depends. So be patient. Sarah Marie Schwab says, we appreciate all you've done for us over the years. Love Darkness Radio events with the Ghost Adventures crew to get to meet you all and spend time ghost hunting. Sarah, I love that aspect too, man. That was great. And, to Tim's credit, he planted that seed of an idea with me. And when I said, man, you're a single guy and I'm married with a shit ton of kids, I think I'm going to take this thing by the horns and I'm going to run it, and I'm going to run events, and this is going to be my income stream. And he stepped back and let me do it. And, he didn't make the kind of money that I needed to make in order to survive and have my kids be a part of it. So, I hope that that's, He understands that I do appreciate. I do see these things. I do understand and appreciate that he brought me to the dance in 2006 with Darkness Radio when we kicked it off. He has been there through the different iterations. You know, Tim got, a lot of people don't even know this. Tim got fired from Darkness Radio, not by me, by the network we were on with iHeartRadio. I think we were like in our third year, and our first solid year of Darkness Radio ended. I think I'm trying to remember. It all starts to fog up after a while, but then iHeartRadio cut like an amazing amount of people. They called it like Black Monday or something. I can't even remember what day of the week it was. They fired people nationwide, thousands of them, and unfortunately Tim was one of them. But our program director saw how good Darkness Radio was because of you guys. I want you to know, hand to God, this was the honest to God truth. This is what they told us. At that time, before podcasting was a major thing, like it is now, where they're giving awards for these great shows, I think we were number 3 in the nation on iHeartRadio for downloaded podcasts. That's massive. I think we were only behind Rush Limbaugh and I think Sean Hannity, and then us. So 2 political guys and a paranormal show. So there's been a lot of that's been around for, been a part of our journey. And then when an opportunity arose to bring Tim back into the fold and management changed over at the radio station, we took it. And I brought Tim back in and I said, well, they're like, well, we're going to need a new producer. And I said, well, my old producer's available and he's a great guy and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, let's talk to him. They rehired Tim. He came back onto Darkness Radio and also produced for Jason Lewis and produced for Coast to Coast AM. Tim was on Coast to Coast before I was. He was producing for Ian Punnett here in town. So, I fully am aware that there have been doors that have been opened to me because of Tim and because of those connections. And I've always appreciated that. But I'm also the kind of guy that when a door opens, I'm going to fucking run through it and I'm going to keep moving. I don't always wait behind for people. My thought is I'm just going to keep pushing and cutting away through the crowd so that when I get there, you're still right behind me. And that's, I don't apologize for that either. And hopefully he sees that, this has been a joint effort and that I've done a lot to make sure that the show was successful. And like I said, when we were the number 3 show nationwide on iHeartRadio, that says something. And I'll tell you before I take Squeam Queen's comment, when our new program director started at KTLK, Andrew Lee, he took me into the office, and this is when Tim was no longer there. And he goes, so I've got Glenn Beck, I've got Sean Hannity, I've got Jason Lewis. I'm a political talk station. Why do I have Darkness Radio? And I said, well, the former program director's girlfriend liked the paranormal, and that's what got us the job. Steve Versnick, thank you. And thank you to your lovely now wife for opening that door to us. And he goes, well, what are your ratings? I said, I don't know. They don't tell us ratings. And he got kind of smarmy with me. Oh, so you don't even know what your ratings are. And he goes, well, let's look, shall we? I said, sure. So he started punching it up and he goes, ooh, this isn't good. And I said, what's not good? And he said, the day part. You guys are on at like 10 to midnight. And I'm looking at the day part and boy, the ratings suck. And I said, well, what's a day part? And he was like, it's like 6 p.m. to midnight. And I'm like, right, but we're only on at 10 to midnight. What's that say? And Andrew looked at me and he goes, oh, you think Dr. Laura is bringing your numbers down? Nationwide respected Dr. Laura? And I said, I don't know because nobody's ever looked it up to tell me. He goes, well, let's look at that together. And he spun the computer around again and clicked a few things. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, fuck, that's why you're on my radio station. And he spun the thing around and Dr. Laura was bringing us down. We were kicking the shit out of every other program, but I think one on their station. Yeah. People were tuning into a political talk station to listen to Darkness Radio. They said, God, you are exactly what we need. You are appointment radio. In the conservative Midwest, people are tuning in at 10 p.m. at night till midnight to listen to ghost stories, UFO, Bigfoot. Thank you guys for that. That's amazing. And we were killing. I don't even mean like a little. We were killing him because when he took out, like, I remember the point scale was something like we were for the day part from 6 to midnight, we were like a 0.06 for that day part. And when he took every other show out, we were at like a 3.7 or a 7.3. It was some astronomical number. I think we were the number 2 show in the Twin Cities at night, period. We were the number 1 talk show during our time slot. And that says something. I think only KDWB might have been beating us at night with their music. And that's, a much wider swath of listeners than we had. So we did great. And Tim and I had a lot of fun doing the shows there. And that's why we stayed with it for 8 years at $10 an hour. My kids could work at Taco Bell and make $12 an hour. I was making $10 an hour doing radio. Funny, little strange tidbits. But again, I want to thank all of you because you're the ones that put us there. Okay, wait, you're the Minnesota Vikings new head coach, aren't you? Squeam Queen says, no, I wish. Actually, I don't. Although I can promise you this, I would be no worse than the last 2 dill holes. I'm glad they're gone, but that's neither here nor there. No, I'm not the new coach. Shane Pittman, my buddy, pops up, my new brother from another mother. You're loved, and we're thankful for all you've done with every step of the way on your journey. Thank you, Shane. And Shane's been an integral part and a good friend to me through a lot. Being on the road for 2 years away from my family and my grandbabies and everything. Shane became a brother to me out in the field. He helped keep my head clear. And when I was in dark places, he was there often to kick me in the ass and get me out to go look at, creepy cemeteries and go visit Babe Ruth's grave and Jimmy Cagney's grave and have adventures going down time looking for some place to eat. And just, he was there for me. So Shane has been a big part of not just the Holzer Files, but he's been a big part of everything. And I thank him for being that brother as well. There's some key things in life that can bring on depression in major ways. Moving, death of family members, death of pets, change of jobs, financial stressors. I've lived through all of those multiple times in the last 5-6 years, multiple times. And it is stressful as hell not knowing where your next penny's coming from, not knowing where to go or what to do, and just doing your best to, stay afloat. So that's why I said a lot of this is tough because I don't want it to sound like I'm complaining. I'm so thankful for everything that's been afforded to me and all the opportunities I've been given, and the fact that people around the world want to hear me and that they open their hearts and minds to me, and that we can explore the strange and anomalous together and talk about amazing things. So I don't mean to sound disrespectful at all. And I don't mean to sound like I'm bitching. I'm just letting you know why I'm in the mental straits I'm in at this point. And, the last 2 years has broken a lot of people, and I'm thankful that I haven't broken yet, but I was fucking close, guys. I was teetering, and I've got a great wife. I've got amazing children and grandchildren and jobs I love. And there are still days that it is almost impossible to get out of bed and face the day. And every day I do it. And every day I find ways. I get up in the morning just to take my daughter to school because I know at least I have something to do. Let me get up. Otherwise, if they all go to school, I have nothing to push me. So depression sucks. You got to get help. I'm getting help. I'm talking to somebody and I'm getting medication and I'm doing what I can. And you have to do it too. Don't give in to the darkness. Don't yield to the pressures and stressors. They're there. You got to find a way. I'm living proof of that you can move on, that you can have life through all of the darkness. And I'm lucky because I know I'm lucky because of all of you and that love and support. So make sure that you spread it to other people. Don't just heap it on guys like me and Tim and Shane and Cindy. Spread it to other people because, I notice when I put up a post, if I'm in a blue mood, I'll get 1,000 comments and 1,000 likes. And then I'm scrolling through and I notice somebody else is having a bad day and they've got 2 comments, 2 likes. Just be there. Sometimes it's just saying, hey, I love you, and letting somebody know. Will Shank says, Darkness Radio is awesome. Dave, if you want to do a new show, do a new show. We'll all be here for you. I hope so. Keep up with me at darknessradio.com. Keep following me on my social media pages. The only thing from Darkness Radio I will take with me, the only thing is Scully. And that's because, well, it's me. It's a caricature of me. There's another great logo that I have that I've created a banner for Tim. that if I elect to kick a new show off, Scully will be my mascot. It won't say Darkness Radio. Where is he? He's over here. Won't say Darkness Radio on the microphone anymore, but Scully will be a part of it because he is me. And that's the only thing I plan on taking away, and the love and support of all of you. And like I said, if there's a way I can shore up Darkness Radio and work together with Darkness Radio and still work with Tim on a smaller scale so that we don't hate each other and we don't kill each other in the long run, I'd like to see if we can find that place. Right now, I'm not in that mental place. I don't know that he's in that mental place, but if there's space for that, and I've put out this recording, he's either watching live now or he's listening to this podcast that I'm about to send to him. And the hand is out there. So we'll see. We'll talk. And, even if we both agree to do it, maybe there's no money or there's no future in doing the show together anymore. I don't know. Aaron Bush says, you spent so much time around death and crime. It's time to spend time around life and the living. Aaron, that's right. It is. And like I said, I'm not going away. I've got a shit ton of events coming up, which this will be tacky, right? Pull down her question if you can, or statement. Spring into the Supernatural, March 25th and March 26th, 2 one-day events that are coming up with Sarah Lemos from Ghosts of Morgan City, Bill Chappell, the paranormal engineer, me and Shane from Holzer Files. We've got those events coming up in March. We're almost sold out. I think we have 2 left for Friday the 25th, and I think we have 8 left for Saturday the 26th. If you'd like to join, you can go check out darknessevents.com. You'll see all the cool things we're going to be a part of this next year, and all the great places we're going to visit, and a lot of great conferences I'll be at, so you can still come on out and see me and spend time with me. I'm not going away completely, and I'll hopefully be gracing your TV screens this year. And like I said, by February 1st, I will let you know what my future is. Maybe sooner, but definitely by February 1st, I'll let you know what I'm doing in the podcast realm. And please don't just abandon Tim. Give him a chance. He's been in the shadows and behind the scenes for 16 years. Give him a chance like you did to me. And if you go back and listen to those first couple of years of Darkness Dave, they were rough. I was NPR Dave. So tell me, Shane, what was it like to actually see a ghost? And I found my voice, and Tim kept encouraging me, fucking get out of that shell, man. Be Dave. And that's what brought out characters like Snally and Don Johnson and Rolf the dog and the devil and all of the crazy characters that we've done over the years on the show. So, give Tim a little time to find his voice and footing as well. Cindy Brown says, no matter what your next project is, you have our support. Thank you, Cindy. And I really appreciate that. Cindy's another great supporter who comes out to a lot of the live events and hangs out and sees us. Esan says, I'll always support Tim as well. Yeah, please. I understand. I'm in no way saying, oh, choose him or me. This isn't a divorce. It's just 2 guys realizing that they're at a breaking point and that it's okay to walk away before shit gets bad, really bad, right? It's been bad. We've butted heads, but again, I love the guy. He's like a brother. We're not close friends, but not many brothers are. We're friendly-ish, but we've sadly become more acquaintances. Even if we go to a movie screening, very rarely, we never sit together. He sits in a different row or section than I do, and I'm usually with my family, and he's usually with a couple of friends. So we just don't walk in the same worlds. He's got his thing, and I've got mine, and it's probably good because that's what allowed us to get to 16 years. If we were in each other's face all the time, we'd have probably ended up on, cops chasing each other down the street, beating each other with crutches. Sylvie Ward says it's not always rainbows and unicorns between siblings. Sometimes it's farts and cursing, and you chose Tim as a brother. It will work out. That's right. And I'm hoping, like I said, that maybe there's something in the future, and I'd be happy to come back and visit with Tim on Darkness Radio. And as I put out there, my concept is maybe I do a spin-off show. I have an idea for it. I have a name for it. But it's going to be different than what you're used to hearing me do in a way. And I don't want to give anything away from that yet. And that's if I decide to come out of it and do it. There is a lot going on and a lot at play. And again, if I'm doing it for just free and no sunshine at the end of that tunnel, I don't know that I want to continue. I keep doing the TV shows and live events and stuff, and maybe that's just enough for me. But like I promised, I'll let you know by February 1st for certain, if not sooner. Okay, so keep on that journey with me. Gene, is it Gene or Jeannie Aitken says, to me, Dave, you are on a level as Art Bell. So thank you for doing that. You will be doing great things. I can't wait. Yeah, I know people have already started calling me Art Bell, but not for the good reasons. It's because I flaked off my own show and just kind of ghosted people. Again, I didn't ghost people out of disrespect. I ghosted because I needed to collect my own thoughts and my own ideas before I just said something stupid or did something stupid. And like I said, I left the show a couple months ago in a huff, and now it's a month and a half later, and cooler heads have prevailed. And I know I don't hate him, and I know, I don't despise him. We just don't see eye to eye. And instead of irritating the shit out of each other anymore, why not just do something different? Plain and simple. We got about 10 minutes left together. If there's any other questions, anything you want to know behind the scenes, I hope I've given you guys a lot to think about and consider. Dave, you conduct amazing interviews. That is a talent I hope we get to hear again. And that comes from Chris DeSanto. Thank you. That's something I've grown into. I suffer migraines. And if you guys knew how many days a week, when I was on 5 days a week, I would have to sit in the pitch black to get through the show with a migraine and focus on the questions and focus on the show. I think that kept me going as well and kept me alive because it gave me something to focus on besides the pain. So, and then you guys chiming in, it's always been brilliant and a lot of fun. So, like I said, I have ideas. I'll tell you what, pull down Chris's comment. I'll give you guys a little taste. This is my concept. This is all I'm going to show you at this point. The Paranormal 60. That's my concept. Before you rush off to go buy the paranormal60.com, I already did. So don't go out and try to screw me. Just in case, like I said, I don't know. I don't know truly what the future holds. Part of me wants to, part of me, my wife definitely wants me to do something. So I'm not driving her crazy, but she also has been very loving and supportive and just letting me breathe. And that's been helpful because the depression and anxiety have been killing me for the last couple of months. And I need to take stock of that and put myself in a better headspace so that I'm a better man for the people that matter. Vanessa H. says, the episode The Day Satan Called is the most interesting, suspenseful, and chilling radio show I've ever experienced. It was a modern-day Orson Welles moment. Thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. I'm sad that was like 8 years ago, and that was the best of the lot, but I'm glad I was the one that hosted it. There were a lot of great shows out there that I did. That was definitely one of my favorites. I got to talk to so many people. My daughter was bragging me up to one of her friends at work, and he's a horror movie fan. And I said, I talked to Bruce Campbell. I talked to Eileen Dietz, who was the demon in The Exorcist. I got to talk to and meet Reagan herself, and now her Linda. My mind is blank. Damn it, Linda Blair. I've had a chance to meet and talk to Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, Jason Hawes, him too, Jason Voorhees, Kane Hodder. I've talked to Mike Moran, who played Michael Myers, and have had them on the show. We had Marilyn Munster and Eddie Munster on the show, and we've had Leatherface on the show from the reboot of the movies. And some of these guys are my buddies now. I love seeing Kane at conventions, and when I'm at a convention, he's not. He always sends his love and happiness, and I send it back to him as well. And we've made so many great friends. We've lost a lot of great friends too. Rosemary Ellen Guiley and Stanton Friedman and Jesse Marcel Jr. And God, there's so many people on the list, and I feel horrible not naming every one of them. Brad Steiger. But we've had so many great guests throughout the years. And it's brought brothers into my life. Christopher Lutz, the youngest boy from the Amityville Horror, is a friend of mine, somebody I love dearly, and we keep in touch, and not nearly enough. The guys from Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and Paranormal State and the Ghost Brothers and Destination Fear and Kindred Spirits. And, I've got I know these people. They're friends with me. They're kind, and we have great times. And Chris Fleming, a real brother that's come into my life, and I was lucky enough to finally get to do an investigative show with him. The show is The Curse of Lizzie Borden, and it can be seen on Discovery Plus. We finally got to work together and had an amazing time, and I hope that door will swing open again in the future. Cindy Kaza, Katie Stafford, Shane Pittman, Alexandra Holzer, Gabe Roth, the great people at Painless Pictures, and I can't say the new program production company because we're not allowed to talk about any of that. But I've got a lot of cool moments that's all because of this, and I'll forever be grateful. Judy Campbell said, "For God's sakes, Dave, you need to change to charge some money. Your voice alone is gold." Thank you, Judy. Maybe I'll start doing a set of like meditation CDs where I'll walk you through meditation scenarios and you can listen to my dulcet tones. Let me know if you're interested. You can email me. Maybe I'll start whipping those out to people. Beck says, Beg Tiggs Minery says, "Is there anyone you've wanted on the show that for whatever reason we're unable to have?" Sure. A lot of people, but I got Dan Aykroyd and Dan Aykroyd's dad. How fucking cool is that? Lorraine Warren, I had on the show multiple times, John Zaffis, God, and I know I'm leaving out names, and I apologize, folks. I'm very cloudy and emotional inside. I had to say goodbye to Darkness Radio once, which about broke me when I left to go jump over to Beyond the Darkness on Podcast One. Thankfully, that only lasted, I think, 2 weeks, and then Tim was over on Podcast One with me, and we continued on with Beyond the Darkness. But to say goodbye to it again is tough, because it's brought me so much, so many people. Brought me my wife. She was a fan of Darkness Radio, not a stalkery, creepy, fan. Or was she? I don't know. We'll find out. If one day I go missing, suddenly you see me outside the yard mowing the lawn, but I look smaller and my skin is baggier, she might be wearing me. I don't know. Probably not, though. I'm trying to think of who else I'd love to have had on the show. I was really hoping to have Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin. I would have loved to have had Story Musgrave or one of those, astronauts on the program. That was somebody I always hoped to get. But I've had the luxury of talking to most people I wanted to talk to, and most people being very kind about it. God, I have Bill Engvall, Jay Moore, the comedian, an actor, and Jamie Kaler, Jason Gowan. We just lost Tim Yancey this year, a good friend of ours as well. Butch wants to know if I stalked her. I did not. Oh, not as far as she knows. And they're talking about my wife, Winnie. Deb Phillips, "You are the best, Dave. Loved you ever since I met you at the Queen Mary in 2007. Best time ever." Thank you, Deb Phillips. Yeah, those events were amazing. And here's the shit kicker of that. I was planning on relaunching Darkness Radio events, big scale events in 2022. This goddamn pandemic just will not let go. And I don't want to book these big events that I might have to cancel or move to 2024. So once this COVID veil lifts and the world can get back to something kind of normal, I plan on doing some big events again, and getting back out there. So hopefully, Deb, will run into each other again. Boy, how about that too? Seeing places like the Queen Mary, which I don't think will ever be open to the public again. It's been a remarkable journey, truly a remarkable journey. And I thank all of you for the love and support you've shown me over the years, and for the stories you've shared and been open to me with, and the emails telling me, that our show does matter, that what we said mattered, things that sometimes we weren't sure. And I would just, I remember being open about depression and anxiety, and how many people told me that they were on the brink of ending their life. And then they heard me and they realized, God, if he can survive this, I can survive it. You have no idea how that has touched me. And I keep all those emails. I keep them and I cherish them because it means something to know that we're being heard. I cannot wait for March 25th. Lisa Burgess says that is our upcoming event at the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. It's featured on many different TV shows. Again, if you want tickets, go to darknessevents.com. That's darknessevents.com. But that's enough plugging. Our hour, my friends, has come to an end, and I can see the numbers dwindling of live viewers. And I hope all of you listening to the podcast take away from this that I love you and that I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart, that it has meant the world to me to be the general of this darkness army and to walk this journey with my friend Tim. And though it's coming to an end, it's not a complete end at this point. It's a new beginning. All right. Every chapter ends and a new chapter begins. And I pray that both of our chapters continue successfully for many years to come. And if they don't, I just want to thank you for having put me there and being a part of it and helping me. And I love you all. And I want you to stay safe and love one another and be kind. And I've been saying that for years on our show, long before many other podcasters started wrapping up their programs with that, because I mean it. And have a great night. Have a great week, a great month, a great year, and do what makes you happy. Don't stay in places that hurt your soul. Don't stay in relationships that are toxic. And I'm not relating this to Tim. I'm just saying across the board, life is too short. Grab it, make the best of it. Focus on what you can do next and how you can move onward and upward. And I've been there. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing. Every time I land flat on my face, I just get back up and join the human race. And that's what you need to do too. So I wish that for all of you. God bless, Godspeed, and I'll talk to you again soon. You've been listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. And for the final time, this is Darkness Radio, and I'm Dave Schrader.